Could a good God not have made a world in which there was no suffering? I'm sure all of us have asked that question. I've asked it many times. My answer to it is, of course he could. Of course he could. But you wouldn't have lived in it, nor would I, because it would empty the world of something most precious to our humanity, and that is the capacity to love. Because is it not fair to say that our capacity to love depends on our capacity to choose? We've got a certain freedom of will. The Creator has endowed us with it if we believe in a Creator. But we've got it, and it gives us the most precious thing we have as human beings. And the problem is, if you create a world like that, then choice to be real has to go in two directions. You can choose the good or you can choose the evil, and that has consequences. Now, we may want to tease that out a bit, but it seems to be enormously important for us to realize that if we say, could God not have made a world in which these things didn't exist? The answer is yes, but none of us would have been in it. God took a risk in making this world, that's true. But you know, I'm old enough to be a grandfather. I took a risk in having children. I'll never forget it. Holding the first little girl, well, I've only got one girl, in my arms. I'm thinking, you know, this child could grow up to say no to me. It's perfectly possible. Well, why have a kid? You see, it's interesting when you drop it from the divine level just to the ordinary human level. Because we cannot insist that our kids are pre-programmed to behave as we would like them to. And as they grow up, we see that we got powerful personalities emerging in our house over which we've got no control anymore. You'll discover it, you folks. You know, you wait, you'll see. It's a very real thing. But it helps me get into this a little bit. Because God isn't a theory or a person. We're not talking about robotics. And really what it boils down to is this: would I prefer a robotic wife or a real wife? You know, a wife with a kind of iPad here, and you come home and there's a big K for kiss, and you go, kiss, and you get a robotic kiss. It'd be no fun, would it? It'd just be a pre-programmed response. It would have no meaning. And therefore I think C.S. Lewis was right long ago when he pointed out that we can dissolve meaning out of the world and rationality and all the things we love. Of course we can say, God, you should have made a world like that. But we're left in a world where real choices have consequences. And unfortunately, some of them are absolutely disastrous. So instead of saying, well, could, would, should a good God have done this? We can argue, and many of us have done till midnight and later, day after day after day, and none of us have ever come to a satisfactory conclusion of that sequence of arguments. So perhaps we ought to ask a different question. And the different question would be, granted it's like that, is there evidence, any evidence anywhere in the universe that God can be trusted with a real answer to it?